Minecraft has so much incredible landscapes. It is actually quite interesting just walking around the world and seeing what is there. Sometimes you get surprised by some incredible sights. Like this world I actually chose because of this cliff. This cliff is something that I wanted to build on. But of course, I started out by building way over there. And that was a choice I made, of course, because I wanted to start a little bit small before I moved on to something big. And over here is an amazing landscape, and actually a very difficult one to build on. So, if I have any advice for you about what you should do if you're going to be building a city or something, work with the landscape. Don't flatten everything, because honestly, that's a little bit boring and not at all challenging. In this city, now this is going to be a city which, well, I guess with the actual size of it, it's not really a city in terms of the real world, but what we have is very, very interesting landscapes and terrain that we have to deal with. Now, as you can see, I've outlined locations of buildings here. And the first house that I built is right here. So this is the first house. And with that, I've got a whole bunch of walls here. So retaining walls. And I got more back here and over here. Now, of course, because of how steep some of these areas are, we want to use retaining walls. And if we look at real life examples, now, I used to live in Japan, and the area that I lived in was, I guess, part of the Kanto Plains. However, there's still lots of hills. And I lived on one. I lived at the top of one of the hills, and these things were everywhere. Retaining walls, absolutely everywhere. And houses were built at the tops of them and at the bottoms of them. They were using as much space as possible. Now, this city has very little space to build on, which is why a lot of the buildings are concentrated in this area here because, well, it's relatively flat. However, I'm going to be using all of the space. I'm going to be building every single area. Perhaps I will have a park or two. I think it's probably a good idea to have one, actually. This area down here, this is going to be a park. There are going to be paths and benches and picnic areas and little shops where you can buy food and things like that. But as you can see, I am working with the terrain. Now, if we come right over here, this dotted blue line here is a main road, and it's hugging the side of this hill here and coming up here. Now, we've got these businesses here, including this one, which is going to have retaining walls on both sides here. It's just going to be interesting to deal with. I've got a secondary road, which is actually more of a staircase going down, all the way down here. There are easier ways to access this area if you're going by horse or something, but this is a very walkable city. And this road here is a main one which goes all the way out to the western gates. That is west, yes. And it continues on going in all the way to the eastern gate. And we do, of course, have the southern gate right here. And that goes on towards the university, which has a fairly large area to build in. But I'm going to make use of all of the terrain, every little bit of it. So we build houses up on the hill, and each one has an amazing view, of course. And these are around the highest houses up here. And continuing along over to here. Other than that, I'd say that these are probably going to be some of the more expensive houses. Maybe. Although an area over there is going to be more of a high class area. So as you can see, I'm using the terrain all through here. Roads are going to be, I wouldn't say going directly uphill. We want to make it a little bit easier. And I don't want them to be straight lines either. That reduces the interest in just walking down a street and then you turn a corner and you see something new. This, however, this is probably one of the straightest lines we've got, but it ends right there. So there are other areas that we can take a look at. Now this, of course, is going to be, I guess you can call it downtown, even though it's at the top. We've got the city hall here. We're going to have a lot of some city things here. Library. There's going to be a restaurant here. And just a whole bunch of other places. And one area right down here. Got a little alley here. Now, this is a pathway down to a cafe, which is going to be right down here. So we'll probably have a table out here, have a little area where you can sit here and look out on this big lake. And I feel that, like looking at here, I'm probably going to have the cafe going in here, which I think will be interesting. And we've got this really difficult area here to build in. Trying to get from here over to there. We have this road that comes right along the edge here. I'm going to have, of course, not railings, but some kind of barrier to prevent you from falling down there. I have a bridge going across this. That is interesting. I'm kind of wondering what I should do with this, though. And coming down this way. I'm going to have a is it a fisherman's guild here? Yeah, fishing guild. I'm going to have a lot of guild halls in this city. And we're going to have a bridge going all the way across to this island. Now, this island is more or less kind of flat. So I'll be using this as my industrial area. So we've got a few things that I'm going to build in here. It's just going to help me automate some of the production of materials that I need. And over here, we're going to continue over to what will be kind of a military complex. Now this, I think, is going to be still industrial. And I have to figure out what to do with this little area here. I think I'm going to have a tower here, I think. Harbor tower, yes. But over here, this is our industrial area. And we'll have a lighthouse here too. One of the things that I plan on doing is using this area. I'm going to build over the water. And it's going to remain somewhat liquid down here. But I want to build a big fortification, which is going to have something hidden inside, which is going to be very functional and useful for me. And I'll get into that when I'm actually building it. But I also have to build docks and things like that. I'm going to have some, I think, wooden docks that wrap around this whole area here. Because this is going to be great for fishing. And there's going to be a little fishing huts, people living there. As well as down in this area, along this coastal area. But once we get over here, this is where we're going to have a lot of terrain to work with. So I think I'm going to be building a lot of houses in here. Which is going to be a lot of fun. And of course, towers. Can't forget that. And we've got these big caves here, which I think is a great natural barrier I can use for the walls. I will be building walls around the city. You don't want to fall down in there. The walls are going to be just snaking along here, all the way over here. And this area here, interesting thing that I plan on doing. Just coming back here, and we got an entrance to a cave cafe. I think I'm going to glass this over. Have glass walls here so you can actually see any mobs that come in here. I think that'll be a lot of fun to deal with. Definitely. But these walls continue along this way, all the way over here, going right against the side of this. And one thing I want to do is connect this stream going all the way down to the lake down there. So some kind of waterfall system. And of course the walls go down here. We're going to have a big gate here, as this is the most important gate going towards the capital city over there. There's one other thing which is an interesting feature here. This is basically an old-fashioned ravine. This is, you know, back before they changed everything. This was a regular ravine. I'm going to use this. It's going to be like a mall. It's going to be lined with shops on either side and water at the bottom and bridges going across it. I'm going to have fun with that one, I think. Yeah, so that is my plan for using the terrain here. And I look forward to seeing how it looks in the end. It's going to take quite a long time, I think. But I am itching to get to work on everything in this world, and I can't wait. So how about you? Do you work with the terrain, or do you like to flatten everything and just build on flat ground? Let me know in the comments below. If you like videos like this and would like to see some more, then please consider subscribing to this channel, as well as my main one where I am building this world. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.